Hi guys, Tschuebi here with a new Dope Tech Thursdays video. And in this video we're going to talk about this one, the iPad Pro 2018 11-inch, from a student's perspective. So stay tuned. Getting into the iPad Pro 2018 11-inch model, yes, it's an amazing device. I think you already knew that. I bet you watched some videos before, but it's just working with an iPad Pro isn't a nice experience. It's just fluid, everything happens when you want it to happen, like the processor can keep up, the chips, they are lightning fast, the stylus support is amazing, there's literally no lag that you experience between writing something with the Apple Pen, what I have here, and it appearing on the display, so it's just perfect. Also, the display, even though it's 2018 tech, is still very nice. The 120Hz refresh rate is great, and the resolution is also great. It's sharp to look at, it's bright, and it has battery for ages. So this thing never died on me as a student. It lasted easily throughout the days, and the best thing is, if it would happen to run out of battery, it has a USB-C adapter. So just go around asking anyone who has a USB-C charging cable with them, and you're gonna have battery again. So it's really great. Also, accompanying the iPad Pro, I have Apple's Magic Keyboard. And while it is very expensive, I think it's great. Because you've got trackpad, you've got a fully fledged keyboard that feels exactly like the one I have on the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is standing right over there, you see it. But it's perfect. Even though the price is hefty, I can recommend it. But now, let's come to my use case. So how do I use this iPad Pro? How do I integrate it into my work? So first of all, especially when watching lectures, I'll have the lecture slides open on Notability and write stuff right into the lecture slides. So while in the actual lecture, if it's taking place, right, it's perfect because it just lays flat on my desk like this, and I'm taking notes like this. Also, if I'm at home, I'll have the Zoom class open on the MacBook and do the same things with the lecture slides here, just instead of laying it on the table, having the MacBook somewhere in front of me like in the lecture, it's just laying in front of me right under the MacBook. Also, I use it as a secondary display. And I know you don't need an iPad Pro for a secondary display, but Sidecar is such a great feature. If you have the ability to use it, I would really recommend using it. The third use case that I have for it is like as an actual laptop replacement. So there are days where I go to uni without my MacBook and I'll just take the iPad with me because I know it won't be that much to carry around, and I know that I don't have that much lectures and I won't need the power or the huge screen size of my MacBook Pro. Hence, I'll just carry the iPad Pro and I'll fine. And this is another use case that I have. So really the pros of the iPad Pro for a student are that's lightweight, it has battery for ages, and it easily has enough powers to get all the tasks or the basic tasks done that you need it. I mean, Word works perfectly. I take apps, I take notes, as I said, with Notion, also works great. Just all around, it's a good package. But I cannot recommend it as the sole device you have as a student. Let me explain why. So, the iPad Pro is fantastic, but the thing that's holding it back is the operating system. It runs iPadOS 14.0.1 currently, my iPad Pro, but iPadOS is sort of a mix between macOS and iOS, but it's much closer to iOS. Actually, it's a derivative from iOS, so yeah. And even though they add a trackpad and mouse support, and it works quite decently, it is not close to that of the feeling you get when working on a real laptop. There's some things where it just isn't consistent at being, or or trying to be a laptop. For example, when I'm working with the Magic Keyboard and I go into the Files app and I press Command A, it selects everything. But if I press Command and then click on stuff, I cannot select the things I want to. I have to use the touch interface with the select at the top right corner and then select all the stuff. That's just one thing that's like really bothering me because it's not consistent. And this is where I see the problem of the iPad Pro. It has quite a high price, and for a device with such a high price to not really fulfill all the needs a student has, for example, file exchange can be quite bothering, can be quite a hassle. Also, multitasking isn't that great. Of course, you have split screen view and then you can slide over something, but even though you will buy the bigger iPad for that, it is not the same like you can have on a laptop. So for that price, the iPad Pro should be your sole device, but it cannot cater all the needs that you would have if you want just one device. So in the end, recommending the iPad Pro to students is not as easy as it sounds, because if you're in the Apple ecosystem and you have a laptop, the iPad Pro is fantastic. It's like the best device I can imagine having to accompany my MacBook Pro. I can take handwritten notes and all this. But if you're looking for a device that serves you as your only device, the iPad Pro is not for you, because the iPad Pro has too many issues with the operating system that hinder it from being your only laptop or laptop replacement. So the final verdict is, yes, the iPad Pro is great. Go and get it if you can afford it and you have a MacBook or another laptop. But if you don't have the money, just look for either a 2-in-1 laptop, there are great ones, for example Microsoft Surface Book 2, or go for the new release iPad. They look almost the same, but they aren't as expensive. So that's my recommendation for the iPad Pro. And that's the iPad Pro from a student's perspective. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Have a great one. This was Tschuebi.